I get asked all the time what being a realtor is like, what day-to-day life looks like. So today I'm going to delve into just what that has looked like for me this past week. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jennifer Queen with the Jennifer Queen team in RE/MAX Professionals here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I get asked pretty much daily what it looks like to be a realtor. I get asked all the time just how late I work, how early I'm up in the morning, how I deal with it all. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is break down exactly what happened in my day yesterday, and this is a real life case study for you all if you want that. And just keep in mind though that no 2 days are alike. So yesterday might have been one extreme and then tomorrow could be something completely different. But without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, I lied. I want to add one more disclaimer in here. I just want you to keep in mind too that I am likely a slightly busier realtor than the average realtor. I don't want this to come off as braggy, but I am a team leader, so I do have a group of agents that I work with. And then also I personally sell over 100 homes a year. So I would say I am likely on the busier side of the spectrum. You do not have to be as busy as I am if you don't want to be. There are realtors that make very good livings out there with doing 30 deals a year, and they have likely a lot more work-life balance than I do. I am not toting that what I do is a healthy level of work activity either. I definitely do get burnt out. Okay, I've said it. Now let's get into it. I will talk about what my day yesterday looked like. Sorry for the delay. So I woke up at 6 a.m. yesterday, and the first thing I do after I drink my glass of water and kind of wake up is I come down to my home office and I plunk myself down at my desk. So I would have been at my desk likely by about 6:05 a.m. With a hot tea, with a little bit of caffeine, but nothing too crazy. I find that if I drink too much caffeine through the day, I just cannot sleep at night. So I usually time my coffee to actually be a little bit later in the morning. And I start with caffeinated teas early. But I plunk down at my desk, 6:05. I really like to get like a solid 2 hours at my desk of work time in the morning before 8 a.m. honestly, because at 8 a.m. I start finding that that's when my email starts and my phone and everything starts getting busy, and I start getting calls, texts, emails that are distracting from the day's work. So I usually reserve that 2 hours in the morning to oftentimes focus on making content, with looking over our marketing to make sure that everything is on track. I also use that time for just perhaps other projects that I'm working on in the business that I could be easily distracted from later in the day. Sometimes I will use this time to do some listing input, because I find in those morning hours when nobody is around and it's very quiet, that I'm really able to nail those out in about like 30 minutes a listing. So I can get 4 listings in that amount of time if I need to. Yes, I do still do my own listing input. I know there's a lot of teams out there that don't, their team leader no longer does the listing input. They get the listings, but then have somebody else write their ad copy and whatnot. But I personally, call me a control freak, I still like to do those tasks. But yesterday's specific task in this 2-hour window was writing content. Logan and I have a major renovation happening within our home, and we are anticipating, based on our contractor's Gantt chart, that is going to take approximately 2 months. So my goal at this time was to shoot 2 months worth of video prior to these renovations starting, because I don't think I will have any of this backdrop for the next little bit, or really anywhere quiet to record within my own home. So I worked at my desk for about 2 hours yesterday morning. Then that was when I actually hit the shower. So I hit the shower, got ready and whatnot, and was ready for a call with our accountant by 8:30 in the morning yesterday. So our accountant wanted to talk to us about our tax filings and also some other strategies. There's some new Real Estate Brokers Act services that are having some impact on real estate corporations right now. So we just kind of wanted to talk about the impacts of that. for 2022. So we had a quick 30-minute call with him, and then I was on the road by 9 a.m. So I was in the car at 9 a.m. I was at my clients around 9:20 a.m. These clients in particular, we are listing their home next week. They had had 2 meetings, I think, with the stager, the last one being the day prior, and pictures were scheduled for yesterday morning around 9:45, I believe. So I had given myself 25 minutes to kind of just walk through the property with them, make any final tweaks if I felt anything needed to be tweaked. Of course not. Our stager did a great job, Lisa. Shout out to you. Thank you again. And because of the work that she did in there, the house was actually picture ready when I got there. But these are people that have lived in their home since 1993, I believe. And so for them, this is a huge, huge step, and they just needed a little bit more hand-holding, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I was there to tell them it looked great, go through room by room with them, and give them that reassurance again. And then they left, and I let the photographer and videographer in from there. And then after that, there was actually a Matterport videographer. I don't know if we call those videos, but videographer coming in right after that. So it was a very busy morning. I ended up just installing a lockbox there so that the Matterport photographer could let himself in after the regular pictures and video were shot. So then while on my way to my next appointment, I actually swung by another property we're going to be listing next week. So yeah, I like to get those lock boxes on well in advance and get codes to people who need them, just so that I don't cause any delays if somebody's trying to reach me later on. Say like when I'm shooting a video right now. Actually, I believe as I'm shooting this video, there would be people needing codes to get into homes if I hadn't have sent that out in advance. So whenever I can get ahead of things, I like to try to do so. So that takes me to my next appointment, which was at 10:30 a.m. At 10:30 a.m., I was doing an opinion of value on a condominium for a couple that are actually going through a separation. Which I will be honest, I seem to be seeing a lot more these days. I think COVID really brought out the weaknesses in any relationship, to be honest. But anyways, this couple, we were discussing the options, what it would be worth if we were putting it on the market versus how they would handle it if one was buying the other person out. So they have a super cute dog in this condo that I really wanted to take home. It was huge. I loved it. And it was just sweet and lazy. And I love dogs, if you didn't know that. So I really enjoyed that listing appointment. They will be listing their condo, so we're talking about a couple weeks from now at this point. At 11:30, I am out of that appointment and I am hungry. I have not eaten yet today. So do not follow my diet advice, because I think I am probably the worst when it comes to eating on the go. There are days where I will forget to eat an entire day, and then there are days where I am working out of my home office and I eat the entire fridge. So it really changes from day to day. But this day I was starving, so I stopped by Starbucks, grabbed a cup of joe, and I had my favorite go-to from there, which are the egg bites. They're so good. I would eat those every day anyways. If I can time out my day so that I do get Starbucks egg bites, I will. I know that Starbucks isn't known for their delicious food, but trust me, the egg bites are worthwhile. At noon, I was meeting with another set of clients that are also interested in selling their home. Now, this home was a very substantial home. It's a walkout basement on lakefront, beautiful home that was built custom, and they are looking to essentially downsize. So I toured the home with them, gave them some pointers about prepping it for sale. Although they're very early on in the process, they're not sure if they even want to downsize at this point. They had also, when we were setting up this previous appointment, had mentioned a home they were interested in. So we had agreed to do the evaluation at their home and then go see another property, just so they could kind of start getting their feet wet and seeing what options there were out there. So we actually went from their house, took a tour at another property, and then discussed there too. So that took us from about 12 o'clock to 2 p.m. That exercise. And it was really fun. The other property was beautiful and definitely smaller, but they could envision themselves living there. So they're getting there. So that showing was close to my office, which was perfect. So I stopped by my office at 2:15 p.m. To just grab some office supplies. I have been working a lot more from home recently, although that will be changing with the upcoming renovations. So I grabbed some supplies, mostly for binding, and also just some seller folders. We keep things all pre-stacked at the office so that you can just grab and go when you're having a busy day. I had a quick chat with Carrie. She was surprisingly the only one at the office. Usually there's at least a few bodies within our office, but I think everybody was out and about that day. So I had a quick chat with her, and then I actually headed back home from there. So then I came home around 3 o'clock. At the time of filming this, it was spring break, so my kids are actually home right now. I wanted to come home and have a quick visit with them, although it was very quick because by 3 p.m. in the afternoon, after having not dealt with my email, with the exception of like the quick ones from my phone in between appointments, I had a ton of emails sitting in my inbox. So tackling all those messages, getting caught up on those was the next step of the day. I also did 2 possession changes in that period of time. I discussed with a lawyer just something going on with a tricky deal, and I created a new invoicing system for one of our photographers. So it was a busy couple hours, and then at 4:45 I was back out the door to head out for my evening appointments. So for the first set of evening appointments, I was meeting a past client of mine. He wants to see a couple houses in Windsor Park. So we saw 2. One we were seeing actually for a second time, and he didn't like it as much the second time, so he kind of cooled to it. But that's cool too. Like, you don't have to like it. So neither of those ones were a winner, and we parted ways. And then I had one more physical appointment to get to that day. So by 6:15 p.m. after those appointments, I was on the road again, heading to my next appointment, which I did arrive early at because it wasn't starting until 7 o'clock. So in that time, I made a point of going onto our social media accounts and just responding to any messages and interacting with other accounts, because the whole point of social media is to be social. So I just spent some time there, about 15-20 minutes, just really focusing on that. And then at about 7 o'clock, I went in and toured a duplex. So one side was vacant, so it was nice and easy to see. The other side was occupied, so it was a little bit trickier to get into. And then I just gave them an opinion of value then. And then that appointment ended around like, I'd say 7:45, 8 o'clock, and I was headed home at that point. And then around 8:15 p.m. I'm home, but I'm back at my desk. Kids are already in bed. Our kids go to bed pretty early, I'll say. But yeah, I was catching up again on emails, responding to a couple of questions from other agents, forwarding leads onto my team that had come in through the day, or just recently actually, and then also sending clients some comps for homes they're wanting to offer on. And then at 8:30, I actually hopped on a call with a client wanting to write an offer on a property. So we kind of just discussed detail in that call, what would be put into our offer, what we were thinking in terms of our goals. And so I wrote that up, partially on the phone with them, and then got off the phone with them and finished writing it up, sent it to them via DocuSign. They're actually not in this province right now. And then they DocuSigned it back to me, and I sent it off to the other agent around 9:30 p.m. That night. So it was a longer day. Like, again, what I said at the beginning of this video is every day is different. It's not uncommon though for me personally to stack my days like that, where I work a really, really long day from like 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. But then the next day, a lot of the time, if I schedule a day like that, I try and make it a lighter day where I have only a couple appointments or maybe no appointments at all. And that was what the next day was. It was a day of just writing content at my desk, catching up on desk work. You're gonna find as a realtor that you really, really, really need to schedule out for yourself dedicated time to be at your desk, because there are a lot of things that come at you. For example, these possession changes, these requests for comps from clients, and you can't let your customer service slip away because you're not allocating the appropriate amount of time at your desk every day. And when you're at the beginning, like I know for me personally, that just meant staying up till midnight to make sure I responded to everything some days. So not all days are the same. I will say days like this busier one are more typical for me in the spring and summer markets, but you don't have to be that crazy. And I personally don't recommend it either. Like I would love to have spent more time with my children yesterday. So just something to keep in mind. Whereas today though, I am spending a lot more time with them. So anyways, thanks for watching. That's what a typical day looks like in my real estate life and real estate journey. If you have any comments, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that like button. It does help me in determining just what kind of content to come up with next. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our content in the future. Thanks guys, have a great day.